A retired UW-Madison professor is under investigation after allegations of sexual misconduct.
And Baraboo's police chief joins us for his first interview since a controversial photo brought international attention to his community. We are live with him in minutes.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is a Monday, November 19th. We're going to join Danica in just a minute with that interview with Chief Mark Schaaf. Very interesting conversation coming up there. But first, if it has to be a Monday, at least it's quiet weather-wise.
It is pretty quiet today. We have just a small chance for a few flurries, but no accumulation is expected. Let's get a look at the radar map this morning. There is some snow showing up on the map in the North Woods. Some of those snow showers are clipping our northern viewing areas. Juneau and Adams County seeing a little bit of that snow this morning. Could see some in Marquette and Green Lake counties as well. This entire system is going to work its way to the east, and there's a small chance that some of those snow showers or flurries will pop up here across southern Wisconsin as we head through the afternoon. Here's a look at our current conditions. 24 in Madison. We're actually up a degree since last hour, so I'm super excited to go outside because it's going to be much warmer. That's a little bit of sarcasm there, Leah. It's pretty chilly outside. You got to bundle up. Temperatures will stay well below normal through the day today, hitting highs only in the low 30s. A light west-northwesterly wind is expected. So far, things have been quiet on the roads. Let's take a peek at those maps and see what's happening right now. A few brake lights showing up on Stoughton Road or by Stoughton Road on the Beltline. Otherwise, no accidents to report. Here's a look at your first alert travel times. Still going at posted speeds heading into the city.
All right. Thank you so much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Let's turn it over to Danica now. Danica.
Leah, thanks so much. So ahead of another community meeting tonight, Baraboo's police chief says that we are, in his first interview, and we may never know who posted a photo of a group of high schoolers appearing to do a Nazi salute. He joins me now. This is Chief Mark Schaaf, kind enough to wake up with us this morning for his first interview since that picture went viral. Thank you again for joining us this morning.
Glad to be here.
I do want to start by maybe just talking about what you have seen this attention do to your community, what kind of response you have gotten, because there have been, obviously some strong emotions tied to all of this.
There really have. This issue has been very polarizing, not only community, but state, nation, worldwide.
Right.
We've heard opinions from everyone. And we live in a world of social media where you can express your opinion regardless of anybody else seeing it, who you are and where you're saying it. So it's been an interesting week, and we're just getting ready or pushing forward as a community, because the most important thing here is how we grow, how we get better.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more in our next segment about that in particular. But I mean, this is really, Chief, did you expect this to define an entire community like it did?
I've learned in this job that you can never really expect what's going to happen and what's going to get people's attention. I certainly understand the reason that people are outraged. One of my challenges is that I think as our community worldwide, we need to take outrage and turn it into action. As we talk about different events that keep happening nationwide, we get outraged that they happen, but we let them happen again. And so we need to come up, and I'm a challenge for not only our community of Baraboo, where we've got really good people, but even Wisconsin, the nation. How are we going to go forward? What is the path forward? Take our outrage about what happened on either side of it and push forward to action.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that action and what that could look like, as well as the effect on the Baraboo community, and more on a meeting later tonight coming up in our next segment. But for now, let's turn it back to Leah.
All right, Chief Schaaf, Danica, thank you very much. 6:04 your time now. Leaders at UW-Madison say they're continuing efforts to create a safe, supportive environment after investigating sexual assault allegations against a former university spokesperson confirms that investigation had already started when Harvey Jacobs retired back in May. Jacobs is accused of inappropriately touching, staring at, and commenting on staff and students. The UW's findings substantiate some of those claims against him, and he received no settlement when he chose to retire. Jacobs worked in the Department of Planning and Landscape Architecture. The chair of that department released a statement saying, in part, the experience has been a wake-up call for our department. He went on to say, I am grateful to the faculty, staff, and students who have worked together over the past 2 years to address and improve our climate. Police are still looking for the person responsible for an apparent hit and run over the weekend that left one man dead in Rock County. 21-year-old William Church was found with serious injuries in the middle of County Highway M. That's between Lane Drive and Hill Drive in Union Township early Saturday. Autopsy results confirmed Church later died from those injuries. The driver left the scene and still hasn't been found. Anyone with information can call the Rock County Communication Center at that number right there on your screen. The Wisconsin Elections Commission will be auditing this month's election today in an effort to make you feel confident in the state's process. Our Josh Breiter is here now with how that process works. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Leah. What they're doing today is called an electronic systems audit, and they actually do this after every November election. But this year, the process will be a little different. The Elections Commission is increasing the number of wards to be audited from 100 to 180. When you break down that number, it's still only about 5% of the voting wards in the state. So why this increase? Well, the Elections Commission tells us it's due to some academics. Other election experts have also recommended a more rigorous post-election audit system this time around. As for the wards and races that will be tested today, we're told they have been randomly selected. The deadline is December 3rd because that's when everything must be certified. The audit process is required before they can actually do that, and they don't expect it to change any of the election results this time around, Leah.
All right, certainly a story we will continue to follow. Josh Breiter reporting for us. Thank you, Josh. In Rock County, construction on a new performing arts center will move ahead after two big donations. A couple donated $250,000 to the downtown Janesville Performing Arts Center, and the Hendricks Family Foundation donated another $200,000. The Performing Arts Center plans to upgrade its lighting and technology there and convert an old pool at a nearby apartment building into an education outreach center. The Downtown Arise project hopes to raise $10 million in private donations to add to the city's contribution. To donate, you can go to JanesvilleArise.com. Rock County has a new committee to help develop the airport there. The Janesville Gazette reports the airport board is made up of 6 community members who have aviation or economic development experience. They'll work on future activities and growth at the Southern Wisconsin Regional Airport. One member says they're working to fill empty hangars as other nearby airports are booming with private flights. Groups in Sauk County are taking part in a first-of-its-kind collaboration there. The One Sauk Naturally Initiative is a partnership between the county government, community groups within Sauk, and the Ho-Chunk Nation to tackle issues like how land is utilized, water quality, and mental health resources. They're holding workshops after receiving a grant from the Local Government Institute of Wisconsin. That's an organization that focuses on preparing for the future despite less funding and citizen participation across the state. Subcommittees formed out of those workshops will tackle issues like land and preservation. All right, coming up on News 3 this morning, Chief Schaaf is going to join us again after the break to talk about the police investigation into this picture and what he hopes his community learns from it going viral. Before that, though, Hattie's talking about colder temperatures and some flurries possible overnight. She's also looking ahead to your Turkey Day forecast when News 3 this morning continues.
Good morning from the patio. We're off to kind of a chilly start this morning. A little bit of snow left on the ground across southern Wisconsin after that weekend snowstorm. High temperatures yesterday, definitely on the cold side. We had spots that didn't even make it into the 30s. 28 in Mineral Point, 29 in Platteville, and 26 in Prairie du Chien. 32 was the official high yesterday in Madison. And we continue with those below normal temperatures. I guess kind of getting used to it so far this month. It's been a pretty cold November for us. Temperatures will be below normal for the start of the work week. Climbing a little bit though as we head towards the end of the week. Nice little warming trend with temps at least back into the 40s for a few days. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. We are watching some snow showers across northern and central Wisconsin. That snow just now getting into our far northern viewing area. As the storm system continues to work its way to the east, we have a chance for at least a few flurries or snow showers here across southern Wisconsin. Nothing major though. In fact, the probability of precipitation is really not that impressive today. Just increases to about a 20% chance for a time this afternoon. Amounts, if we do see any of those flurries, really not going to add up much across southern Wisconsin. There is a potential for a little bit of lake effect snow in those lakeshore counties late this afternoon into this evening. Our temperatures this morning, if you are just waking up, it's chilly this morning. 24 here in Madison, 22 in the Dells, 20 in Platteville this morning. Winds from the southwest, anywhere from 5 to 15 miles an hour, generating wind chills in some spots down in the teens and even single digits in Monroe. So it is going to be a cold day today. Future track will show you what to expect. A lot of clouds, that is for sure. Future track is really not too robust with those snow chances today. Again, there is a chance for a few flurries, but that's about it. Our temperatures will top in the low 30s today. Skies will begin to clear out tonight. Sets us up for another cold night, but at least we have sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. Take a look at that extended forecast as we head towards the Thanksgiving holiday. Our temperatures will slowly begin to warm up. 38 on Wednesday and then 40 on Thursday. Looks like the dry weather will continue through Thursday. Then on Friday, some rain chances developing across the area. It stays warm enough for rain into Saturday morning. But on Sunday, we'll watch that extended forecast because there's a chance for some rain or snow. Busy travel week coming up across the area. Let's get a look at those travel conditions now this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's a quiet start on the Beltline this morning. Just the usual crowd beginning to show up westbound between Stoughton Road and John Nolan, but really nothing that'll delay you at this point. Checking out roads here in Dane County, there are some brake lights popping up on Stoughton Road and Verona Road if you're heading near the Beltline ramps. No delays downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume not a factor at this point. And other main routes heading into the city, they're moving at the posted speeds with no major crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Hattie. 6:14 your time now. We want to continue our conversation with Baraboo Police Chief Mark Schaaf when it comes to a controversial photo of high schoolers on the steps of the courthouse there. Thanks again for sticking around and talking to us this morning.
Glad to be here.
Let's start with where the investigation into that photo is at this point, what you're looking at.
Well, the investigation is still open, so I can't comment on specific details of it. One of the areas that has been some confusion, and I've heard from many people about, is First Amendment rights versus what we as the police can look at and investigate. We will not be looking at anything that involves the First Amendment. Our job is to determine if there's violations of the state laws or any federal laws that would be appropriate that we as the police can enforce and take appropriate steps to charge those if we can. So the investigation will be something similar to, and the police do this all the time, and some of your viewers may have had students in school that have been harassed on Facebook. Or, so we're looking at why the photograph was actually posted. And if by posting it was an intent to do harm to someone, maybe there's something there. It's important also for people to understand that I can't just call social media outlets, Facebook or Twitter, and say, hey, give me the information on who. I need a search warrant to do that, or I need a subpoena to do that. I need a court document. To get those documents, I need a judge's order, and to have a judge's order, I need probable cause to show that a crime was committed and that that person may have committed that crime or that evidence is germane to that. So it's all part of the investigation.
Yeah, and so there's a definite possibility here, just because of that process and how complicated it can be for you, that we may never learn who posted this. I mean, this is a secret account.
There is anonymous part to the internet that is very challenging for us. We can find IP. I know that the TV shows love to show that they can solve any crime in 30 minutes or less. It's a little different in real life and much more complicated in real life.
And speaking of complications and just the effect of all of this, can we talk a little bit about what you've seen the community and mostly the kids in the schools kind of endure after this came out?
Yeah, last week was a really long week for us in Baraboo. We had not only the challenge of what was put out there, the picture, but we also had the challenge of the visceral response. And people are really outraged. And I understand why they're outraged. I really do. And that's not a bad thing. Outrage isn't a bad thing when you've been offended or have issue. But the bigger key is how can we push that forward? So because of some of those outrage, we've had a lot of threats. We've had a lot of calls to not only the school district, the school board, the school district superintendent, but to the mayor, to the city administrator, to the police department. Threats, and we've all been called things that none of us ever anticipated.
And the school district is moving forward with this 3-part program to promote healing within the district, within the community. But we were talking a little bit off camera about how, you know, this is a longer conversation about education.
It is, and not only just conversation, but the community. And any school has the job of educating the youth. And I like to tell the kids, you know what, all those things they're teaching you, the math, the science, and all that, that's a trick. What the teachers are actually teaching you is to be responsible.
What the research has found,
and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that can come out into our community and be productive members of our community and of our society. And so this conversation has to be longer than just 1, 2, or 3 events. And it has to make us as a community, and quite frankly, this conversation has to see if we can make even the nation a little bit better.
Yeah. And speaking of kind of moving forward, there is the meeting tonight, the community meeting. You'll be there. The school administrator is going to be there. You know, just briefly, any hopes for this meeting tonight in your eyes?
Anytime people come together to talk, there's hope. Yeah. I'm kind of old school. I'm not a big fan of social media. I don't have any of those accounts. I would prefer to talk to you one-on-one. I would prefer to look you in the eyes and have a conversation, because now we have the ability to not only interact, but connect. Yeah. And so that's the big thing tonight is to start the connection, because we have to acknowledge that people were hurt, and then we have to go forward, and that connection, including the boys that were in the photo and that they were hurt as well. When we've made those statements before, we've had some people that called us names for that. Sure. But the reality is all the social media is going to go away. A lot of the people that were contacting us couldn't find Baraboo if they Google searched for it right now. But at the end of the day, we still have to wake up tomorrow in our community.
Yeah. An important message there. All right, Chief Schaaf, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. 6:19 right now, and we are expecting a bit of a warm-up for Thanksgiving Day, but until then, it's going to stay pretty chilly out there.
Yeah, you better believe the fleece blanket is back this morning. Hattie's talking about highs right around that freezing point today and tomorrow. She'll tell you how many layers you're going to need on the way out when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning. It is Monday morning and we're watching a snow chance across the northern part of the state that will possibly move into southern Wisconsin as we go through the day. Here's a look at Doppler track and you can see some snow just moving into our far northern viewing area. Juneau and Adams County looking at a little bit of light snow potential right now. Most of the area though is starting off dry. As the storm system moves through the region, there is a chance we'll see a few flurries or very light snow showers, but no snow accumulation is expected for the southern part of the state. Temperatures are starting in the low to mid 20s this morning. Here's your bus stop weather forecast. We have temperatures that will climb only 10 degrees today. We're starting out around 23, heading to a high of 33 this afternoon. Again, mostly cloudy skies with a few flurries possible. We do have sunshine in the forecast though starting tomorrow. That'll be a nice change. 33 degrees with some sunshine on Tuesday, 38 on Wednesday, and the quiet weather continues through Thursday with highs right around 40 degrees. Some chances for precipitation are back in the forecast though starting on Friday, and Chris is watching the weather pattern on the long term to see when we can expect more storm activity here.
Exactly, and as meteorologists, that's one of the things we always do. We're always looking for when the next round of active weather comes into the picture, and it does look to move in right after Thanksgiving. And one of the things we look at to help find this is the upper air weather pattern. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to keep up with this weather pattern together. And once we get past Thanksgiving, we begin to shift the colder air out of here. Milder air sets up for at least a day or two, but once that moves in, it's chilly air taking over the country, pushing that milder air to the south. The thing is, when you get this kind of a chilly setup, the jet stream orients from the deep south and into the eastern seaboard. That oftentimes leads to an active pattern across the eastern half of the country especially. So let's go ahead and show you some of the models that we look at as forecasters that give us ideas of what could happen. And here's the day after Thanksgiving with the chance of rain throughout the nation's midsection. That works its way on east, followed up with perhaps another system that then brings more rain and snow to the eastern part of the country. But there are more than one model out there. So let's go ahead and show you guys the next model. It gives us a similar idea with rain the day after Thanksgiving, followed up with another system through the plains that works its way towards the upper Midwest and the eastern half of the country with possibly rain and snow. So that's one of the things that we are certainly going to be watching. But no matter what, it does look like we are going to see a wetter than normal weather pattern over the next 6 to 10 days and even the next 8 to 14 days, not just over the eastern half of the country, but the country as a whole. So you look at California and they see a wetter than normal pattern, which is something that they could need to help with the wildfires out there. But once we round out November and head into December, there are signs that we're going to be staying active and perhaps snowier than normal with colder air coming in. I think the pattern we've just gone through is essentially going to reload and repeat.
Ugh. Reload. That's never
Reload
good when
and
you I know when you're talking about like mixed precipitation and all those.
Appropriate for this week though, during hunting week. I like that.
Yeah, it'll give
Timely.
us forecaster headaches, but you know, that's what we're here for.
That is, yeah, unfortunately that's why you get to pay the big bucks, folks. So, all right.
Sure.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
6:26 your time now. There are some important reminders to share about when we need to all stop for school buses, particularly after multiple kids have been killed waiting for pickup. We'll preview that story straight ahead.
And the city of Madison is looking ahead to the pro soccer team's inaugural season and what kind of upgrades the stadium should be equipped with to make sure fans are coming out for Forward. The news is back in the morning on News 3 this morning. We should find out today whether there will be a vote recount for the Attorney General's race here in Wisconsin.
And the Wisconsin Elections Commission is making sure you feel safe using electronic voting machines. Josh Breiter will explain their audit process happening today.
This is News 3 This Morning.
And welcome to the final half hour of News 3 this morning. It is 6:29 now on this Monday, November 19th. We're coming off a weekend of great hunting weather and a couple more quiet days on the way, huh?
Yeah, definitely. A little chilly, though, today. Hattie is outside in the 24 degrees that it is outside right now. Hattie, it's not going to warm up too much either.
No, not a whole lot today. Maybe you're getting used to it, though. November has been such a cold month for us. We continue with those below normal temperatures this morning. Let's take a live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. Mostly cloudy skies in the area this morning, seeing a little bit of light on the horizon, but we don't have a lot of sun in the forecast. Take a look at Doppler this morning, the Doppler track showing you that there is some snow in our northern viewing area and across the northern part of the state. As the system continues to work its way east, there's a chance that you'll see a few flurries today or even some very light snow showers, but no accumulation is expected. Temperatures this morning are definitely chilly. We're in the 20s, but low to mid 20s across southern Wisconsin. Temps will not climb much today. Luckily, a west-northwest wind will stay pretty light. High temperatures, though, will only be in the low 30s this afternoon. Let's take a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We do have an accident report on Highway 51 northbound. This is just after the intersection with the interstate. No delays there right now, but there could be some delays forming. Otherwise, here in Madison, we have really no issues to report just yet. No delays on the Beltline or in the downtown areas. Travel heading into Madison still looking good as you're going at posted speeds right now. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you so much, Hattie. So we should find out later today whether there will be a recount for the Attorney General's race here in Wisconsin. The state's Elections Commission released the official vote total results on Friday, which showed Democrat Josh Kaul with a more than 17,000 vote lead over Republican Attorney General Brad Schimel. That's within the 1% margin to ask for a recount. Schimel says he will announce later today if he plans to seek one. He would have to cover the cost for any recount efforts.
In an effort to make sure Wisconsin voters feel confident in the electronic voting machines you might have seen at the polls earlier this month, the Elections Commission will be doing an audit today. Josh Breiter is live in the news center this morning with the details. Good morning, Josh.
Leah, good morning. Today they're conducting the electronic systems audit, which happens after every November election. But this year they're increasing the number of wards to be audited from 100 to 180. That's about 5% of the voting wards in the state. The Elections Commission says the increase is due to some academics and other election experts recommending a more rigorous post-election audit system. They've randomly selected which wards will have their electronic systems tested and which races will be looked at. The audit process is required before the Elections Commission can certify the results by the deadline of December 3rd. They don't expect it to change any of the election results this time around, Leah.
Josh.
6:32 right now. Sauk and Columbia counties are among those getting $250,000 to provide in-home mental health care to kids and teens. The Department of Health Services and the Department of Children and Families are offering those grants to go toward what's known as crisis stabilization for young people. That in-home care teaches kids and teens ways to identify and deal with psychological distress before connecting them to the treatment they need. There's a significant statewide investment in this kind of help as well in the latest state budget.
Wisconsin's rural parts of the state are having a harder time keeping their emergency medical services alive. Wisconsin Public Radio reports low volunteer numbers, staffing issues, and poor funding are all the top issues facing small-town EMS departments in the state. Kirk Gunderson, the president of the Wisconsin EMS Association, says more state funding would help those departments in the short term. The state's Office of Rural Health is currently preparing a report on the challenges of those EMS systems.
After 3 Indiana siblings were killed at their school bus stop last month, bus drivers and parents here in Wisconsin are demanding we pay attention on the roads. More than 1,000 drivers across the state were cited last year for failing to stop for a school bus as it was picking up or dropping students off. Now, whether it's people just being inattentive or unfamiliar with lights on the buses, those behind the wheel of those buses have some reminders for all of us.
You see a big yellow school bus and it has lights flashing, or you just see a big yellow school bus, you need to wake up. You need to really pay attention.
People see the yellow. Yellow means go faster, right? Not stop. My yellow means I'm gonna stop.
More buses are also now equipped with ways to catch violators. That makes it even more important for drivers to be alert and aware of the rules. Our friend Eric Franke has a special report on this issue tonight on News 3 at 10.
The city will consider tearing down the old Brennan's Market on University Avenue later today. The plan is to demolish the vacant grocery store and replace it with a 60-unit apartment complex with retail space and underground parking. The developer hopes to start construction next spring and finish by spring of 2020. People who live around there can voice their thoughts and concerns with the City Plan Commission tonight, starting at 5:30 in the City County building. There is another new apartment complex being considered at that meeting, this one on the far east side. There's a pitch to tear down Callahan's Sports Bar just off Stoughton Road and East Washington Avenue. Developers there want to build an 85-unit complex in its space, along with some shopping space.
The public has a chance to chime in on possible changes to the outside of Breese-Stevens Field as the city plans for more upgrades inside that facility. The hope is to have renovations done by March of next year in time for Madison's first pro soccer team to take the field for its inaugural season. Now, the project manager wants to add bleachers and build a hospitality deck above the new concession stand that's already under construction. Breese-Stevens is nearly 100 years old, so any changes that significantly modernize the structure have to be approved by the Landmarks Commission. That meeting starts at 5 o'clock tonight on the first floor of the Madison Municipal Building. And the committee in charge of redeveloping the Alliant Energy Center will meet for the first time since a community feedback session last month. They'll look over the takeaways from that meeting, talk about the master plan as well as the project schedule. The redevelopment includes adding hotels, restaurants, office space, and housing to the 164-acre campus along John Nolan Drive. The Dane County budget approved this past week, includes $250,000 to complete a pre-design study for the exhibition hall as well as a stormwater runoff analysis for the site. 6:36 right now. UW-Madison says a former professor was guilty of some of the sexual misconduct charges that he faced during his time on campus. We'll share the latest on that investigation in the morning sprint.
And we will show you what logo Madison's first and only pro soccer team will put on all of its gear, because only real men wear pink, right? We'll take a look at the Forward Madison FC team when News 3 This Morning continues.
Welcome back. It is just 6:40 on this Monday morning, and Karen shared this kind of throwback, we think, because there's no white stuff on the ground. So she posted this one on Facebook. This is the sunrise in her backyard. Beautiful shot.
You almost forget what green looks like when you've got so much white and brown out there. Thanks so much for sharing, Karen. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. Danica and I share our favorites right here every morning on the program. 6:40 your time now. We now know the name of the new soccer team the city will be cheering for next year. It's Forward Madison FC. The team announced its new name and its new logo yesterday after the community got to vote for it online. You're going to notice the pink flamingos on the crest of that logo. That's partly tradition for soccer to include a bird, and partly Madison tradition as well. A pink plastic flamingo is actually the city's official bird. The team also hosted open tryouts this weekend that continue into today. Their first season starts next year.
From football to football, the Badgers will spend the week preparing for the last game of the regular season. They host Minnesota Saturday afternoon after pulling off a win in triple overtime at Purdue over the weekend. Jonathan Taylor had a career game, 3 touchdowns, 321 rushing yards. Final score 47-44. And the Bucks play at home tonight, taking on the Denver Nuggets in the Fiserv Forum. Now, Milwaukee's coming off a win against the Chicago Bulls Friday. Both Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton put up 23 points. All 5 starters scored in the double digits to earn the Bucks a 123-104 victory. They're now 11-4 on the season, a game behind the Raptors for first in the Eastern Conference. Tip is at 7 o'clock tonight.
All right, Hattie's got some nice dry weather to look forward to for holiday travel. Good news there. Before that, though, we could see some flurries along with some chilly temperatures. Her full forecast is coming up.
First, though, if you have a kiddo turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can help celebrate and show their picture on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 this morning.
Look
Welcome back. A new partnership between the UW School of Medicine and the Dane County Boys and Girls Club is working to boost diversity in the healthcare workforce. The 8th session program exposes kids as young as 9 years old to career opportunities in health and science. The first session wrapped up this past weekend. That's what you're seeing here. Teachers take time to specifically address some of the economic, educational, and health disparities kids of color are born into.
All right, over to Hattie now with a look at our first alert forecast. Hads, we might see some more flurries today. Is that right?
That's right. We could see a few flurries today. It's definitely cold enough, and that has been the trend so far this month. Take a look at our November temperatures. We've only had 2 days at the beginning of the month where temperatures were actually above normal. Otherwise, the rest of the month has been at or below normal. And some days, even last week, well below normal. Last Tuesday, 17 degrees below normal. So it's been a cold month. We're averaging about 7 degrees below where we should be. And that trend will continue as we go through the first part of this week. Temperatures topping only in the low 30s. We should be in the low 40s this time of the year. Could climb above normal, though, for a couple of days, Friday and Saturday, as temperatures get into the low to mid 40s. But you see that trend does not continue. We're back below normal as we head into next week. And speaking of those cold temperatures, it's definitely cold enough to snow this morning. There is some snow working its way through the northern part of the state. Some of those snow showers getting into areas north of the Dells this morning. As this entire system works its way through the state today, we could see a few flurries or very light snow showers, but really no accumulation for the southern part of the state. Let's take a look at your travel delays. None around here being reported, but there are some delays in Detroit due to fog, also some delays in Louisville, so keep that in mind if you are traveling today. Overall, though, it's a pretty quiet weather pattern setting up across the country, so no major delays in the major airports right now. Your travel forecast is looking dry along the western half of the United States. Sunshine in Albuquerque, 54. Denver tops at 47 today. Take a look at these temperatures up to the north, only in the teens across northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. Here in southern Wisconsin, will at least be a little bit warmer than that. Generally quiet weather is expected. 23 this morning in Des Moines. Minneapolis starts at 26. Wausau's at 20. Here in Madison, we're right around 24 degrees. And that's pretty consistent with other numbers showing up this morning. 23 in Boscobel, 22 in the Dells. Janesville's the warm spot with 25 degrees this morning. A little bit of a wind to factor in early today. Our wind chill numbers are down into the teens in some spots. Feels like 17 in Boscobel and 12 in Platteville. Monroe's the cold spot this morning where it feels like 8. Your Pinpoint City forecast highs today only in the low 30s across southern Wisconsin. 34 in New Glarus, 33 in Middleton. A few flurries will be possible. 31 in Fenimore today. Muscatine tops at 32, and then to the north, temperatures right around 30 degrees. In fact, from Necedah all the way over to Princeton, we're looking at a high of 30. Here in Madison, our forecast high is 33 degrees today. Temperatures, we're going to say pretty similar tomorrow, but we will have the sunshine, which is the best news. And then it looks like quiet weather heading through most of this week. So if you're traveling leading up to the Thanksgiving holiday, the weather forecast looks very quiet and nice. Some chances for precipitation, though, back in the forecast as we head into the upcoming weekend.
Oh, no.
Gomer.
What?
Oh, no.
His first time seeing snow or what?
I'm not sure. This is the look that I have every morning when the alarm goes off.
Oh, yeah. I can relate to that.
I love it.
This screams caption contest for me. Like, we
Yes.
got to send this one
Yeah.
out, Hads.
We'll maybe put this on Facebook
Oh,
today.
Yeah.
my. That is good stuff. Thank you.
Hattie.
You're welcome.
Hopefully you're not shocked by this. The Morning Sprint's coming up next on News 3 this morning. It is almost 6:52. Time now for the morning sprint. Hattie's bundled up for now, but says we can look forward to a bit of a Thanksgiving warm-up.
And Josh Sprider tells us about the voting system audit happening today to make sure electronic machines are accurate. But we start on the UW campus, where leaders are investigating sexual misconduct allegations against a former professor. The UW confirms that investigation had already started when Harvey Jacobs retired back in May. Jacobs is accused of inappropriately touching, staring at, and commenting on staff and students. The UW's findings substantiate some of the claims against him. He did not receive a settlement when he chose to retire.
Rock County deputies are still looking for the person responsible for a deadly hit and run over the weekend. 21-year-old William Church was found with serious injuries in the middle of County Highway M between Elaine Drive and Hill Drive in the Union Township early Saturday. Autopsy results confirm that Church died from those injuries.
Tonight, the Baraboo community will continue discussions about moving forward after a prom photo showing students appearing to make an anti-Semitic gesture went viral. Most in the city agree this needs to be a teaching moment. That's why a rabbi is coming to tonight's meeting. The mayor and school district administrator will also be there. That's happening at 6 at the high school.
The Wisconsin Elections Commission will be auditing this month's election today. It's an effort to make you feel confident in the state's process. It's called an electronic systems audit, and they actually do this after every November election. But this year, the Elections Commission is increasing the number of wards to be audited from 100 to 180. Election experts have recommended a more rigorous post-election audit system. They've randomly selected which wards will have their electronic systems tested and which races will be looked at. The audit process is required before the Elections Commission can certify the results by the deadline of December 3rd. They don't expect it to change any of the election results.
Josh, thank you. We should learn today whether Attorney General Brad Schimmel will ask the state for a recount in that vote. The official totals showed his opponent, Josh Kaul, won this month's election by more than 17,000 votes. That is within the 1% margin to request a recount. Schimmel would have to pay for that process.
And our forecast today starts with the radar map. We're watching some light snow to our north, maybe seeing a few flurries in and around Baraboo and the Dells. I know Mineral Point is reporting some flurries right now. Definitely a possibility for some flurries or very light snow showers, but no accumulation today. High temperatures will only be in the low 30s this afternoon.
Thank you, Hattie. The search continues for more than 1,000 people still missing in Northern California as the so-called campfire continues to burn. The fire is responsible for 77 deaths so far, and firefighters are trying to get as much of it contained as possible before winds pick up again this weekend. There's also rain in the forecast, which could trigger mudslides and make rescue efforts more difficult.
President Trump is at the White House today for the annual Christmas tree delivery. In an interview with Fox News, the president says the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia told him just days ago that he had nothing to do with Jamal Khashoggi's death. Now, Turkish officials continue to say high-ranking government officials ordered the journalist's murder in the consulate in Istanbul. CBS News confirms the CIA does have intelligence indicating the Crown Prince ordered the hit.
Tonight, there's a public hearing about a new apartment complex for Madison's East Side. There's a pitch to tear down Callahan's Sports Bar just off Stoughton Road and East Washington Avenue. Developers want to build an 85-unit complex in its place, along with some shopping space there. People who live in the area have a chance to speak tonight at 5:30 in the City-County building.
The public has a chance to chime in as well on possible changes to the outside of Breese-Stevens Field as the city plans for more upgrades inside that facility. Renovations are set to be finished by March of next year. Later today, the Landmarks Commission is talking about things like additional bleachers and the hospitality deck. That group has to approve any changes that modernize the 100-year-old facility.
We now know the name of the new soccer team that will play inside that stadium next year, Forward Madison FC. The team announced its new name yesterday after the community got to vote for it online. You'll notice the pink flamingos on the crest. That's partly tradition for soccer to include a bird, and partly Madison tradition as well. The pink plastic flamingo is actually the city's official bird. The team also hosted open tryouts this weekend.
Groups in Sauk County are taking part in a first-of-its-kind collaboration. The One Sauk Naturally initiative is a partnership between the county government, community groups, and the Ho-Chunk Nation to tackle issues like land use, water quality, and mental health resources.
Today is the last day to donate turkeys, gravy, stuffing, and more to help thousands of Dane County families have a Thanksgiving meal. WISC-TV is a proud partner with the Goodman Community Center and its Thanksgiving Basket Project. The hope is to provide a full Thanksgiving meal to 3,500 families. Goodman is still looking for more than 600 turkeys, 1,600 roasting pans, and 2,200 cans of fruit. We have all of the details up on how to donate on channel3000.com.
Let's get one more check on your Monday morning drive with Josh Tim and your First Alert traffic. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Delays are beginning to show up on the westbound Beltline as it continues to get busier on that side. Brake lights just from before Stoughton Road to West Broadway. It's going to add a few minutes to your drive time there. Inbound John Nolan, you're tapping the brakes between Rimrock and then again at Olin Avenue heading into downtown. And other main routes moving into the city, they're moving along at the posted speeds right now with no crashes or delays. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
And here's the view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. This is the best view of the sunrise that I have on our Skycams this morning. Just nice Wisconsin winter shot there. Here's a look at our forecast today. We are going to see temperatures stay a little below normal, with highs only in the low 30s. A few flurries possible, but no accumulation.
If you are just tuning in with us this morning, we did have Baraboo's police chief on earlier today to talk about the controversial photo in that community.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.